Hello everyone, my name is Jay, and today I'm presenting a case study on a community-based intervention led by the City of Fort Collins, Colorado. Specifically, I'll evaluate the strength of their 2023 through 25 strategic plan for volunteer engagement. First, let's take a look at the city's mission statement. It is to provide exceptional services for an exceptional community, which sets a high bar not just for staff, but for volunteers too. And their values, partnership, service, safety and well-being, sustainability, integrity, and belonging, as you will see when we delve into the plan, these values are deeply embedded in their goals and objectives. Vision for volunteer engagement: to strengthen the Fort Collins community by activating volunteerism and guided by stewardship, inclusion, and impact. These three key aspects of the program are central throughout the plan. Here we'll briefly introduce the team. The city has a program manager, a program assistant, and 6 volunteer engagement leads who work for different departments. This flat and collaborative structure can help build partnership and avoid bureaucracy, something Bacon strongly warns against in the art of community. The plan outlines 6 issues, which in my opinion can be rephrased to align with what Bacon would call objectives in Chapter 2. So here they will become: to improve processes, systems, and clarify roles, to streamline recruitment and onboarding, to expand training for staff and volunteers, to develop meaningful recognition mechanisms and increase impact, to grow resources and capacity, and to build an inclusive and collaborative culture. Now, for the lack of space and time, I'm not going to include all the tactics, but only goals, and we'll go into detail on those related to community building. First, let's take a look at processes, system, and roles. As Bacon states in Chapter 4, good processes should be efficient, simple, and friction-free. To achieve these criteria, the plan proposes a series of tactics to optimize each step during onboarding, training, registration, and evaluation, and improve their online volunteer system called Engage, which we'll talk about later. The tactic that stood out to me is mapping the volunteer journey, which can help identify areas of frictions, steps that are missing, redundant, or disconnected. Next up, recruitment and onboarding. This is about more than growing volunteer base. It's about retention, especially through goal number 3, cultivating inclusion, belonging, and accessibility. In Chapter 1, Bacon emphasizes the importance of creating a sense of belonging, calling it the goal of community building. One of the tactics here is diversifying the demographics of the volunteer community, which goes beyond what Bacon calls surface-level diversity. The team will identify real-world barriers like economic status, literacy, language, and disability, and also normalize these options during recruitment. Volunteers will also be asked about their skills and interests when signing up. This decision responds to this global trend called dejobbing, where people are assigned projects instead of positions. Members can choose the job based on their ability and willingness, and the organization will provide appropriate support to help them succeed. And rather than diving in blind, new volunteers can shadow experienced ones before committing to any role. This mentoring provides hands-on experience and more diverse knowledge to prepare them for the job. Let's now turn to training, which applies to both staff and volunteers. Volunteers join the group because they want to give back, but stay involved depending on feeling welcomed and supported, what Bacon calls the accumulation of social capital. To support this, the plan includes training for staff in people management and community leadership, outlining Goal 1 and Goal 2. They can have more positive interactions with volunteers, and by doing so, build a sense of belonging. The leadership style here should not be transactional, but transformational. That means offering a clear vision, being a role model, and supporting individual growth. For volunteers, besides training their skills specific to their roles, the city will also provide growth opportunities outlining Goal 6, or a leadership ladder. It rewards and encourages long-term commitment in line with the idea of meritocracy, which Bacon recommends for a volunteer community in Chapter 2. The city will also establish a mechanism to consistently and meaningfully recognize and show appreciation to volunteers through public recognition, stories, and visible results. As Bacon says, validation is a key driver of belonging. When volunteers see results of their work, they are far more likely to stay involved. Resource and capacity. Besides pursuing additional funding and staff outlining Goal 2 and Goal 3, one of the main ideas here, or as stated in Goal 1, is encouraging collaboration and saving through sharing assets, funding, and personnel across departments, which is a cost-efficient or a grassroots way to operate the program, according to Bacon. Extra resources are always appreciated, but self-sufficient will go a long way. Last but not least, let's talk about volunteer culture, which is arguably the most critical piece of this plan. While DEI plays an important role in engaging volunteers from all walks of life, an even more critical element is building connection through conversation and collaboration. One of the tactics under Goal 2 focuses on creating opportunities for dialogue in spaces where volunteers can share, collaborate, and learn from each other. This is where social economy comes alive, as Bacon describes. Now, I'd like to take a moment to touch on how communication supports collaboration. In Chapter 3, Bacon emphasizes that understanding workflow is essential to selecting the right communication tools. The Engage system supports effective communication by offering two tailored channels. One is that when volunteers sign up, they can subscribe to email lists for general updates. As it shows here, volunteers can also use encrypted channels under registered activities to message team leads and peers. This step avoids creating single-use chats, so volunteers won't end up with 50 chat groups on their WhatsApp. To conclude, the City of Fort Collins' 2023 through 25 strategic plan for volunteer engagement is a strong example of community-based planning. It optimizes processes with a friction-free system, fosters collaboration through shared resources and encouraging conversations, builds strategic skills for volunteers and staff, prioritizes inclusion by removing barriers, and rewards merit and growth by offering clear paths for advancement. I believe with careful and consistent execution, this plan will enhance the volunteer experience and contribute to a stronger, more inclusive Fort Collins community. Thank you.